Welcome back to the Greatest TV Show podcast, brought to you by the Dan Vandy Production Company. The opinions expressed in this podcast do not reflect or represent in any way, shape, or form the opinions of the Dan Vandy Production Company or its affiliated companies. Any resemblance to any real-life stories is completely coincidental, and your story is just a figment of your imagination.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. It's only been a few years since we've done this, but everybody is healthy again. We had quite a bit of COVID and stomach viruses and everything else going around.
And there's norovirus and RSV virus and all these viruses.
All these viruses.
You notice how it's trying to kill the human race?
I see that. Man-made viruses.
Anyways, how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Vinny/Anthony coming at you.
Al/Michael coming at you.
And we have a new Greatest TV Show podcast coming at you. We got some great things in this episode. We have a special guest.
We do. It took a couple decades to track this one down, but we did.
But before we get into that story, let's just take note of the disclaimer/new intro we did for this episode.
Yeah,
Hope
that was
you
nice.
folks like it.
Mm-hmm.
That was Mike on the drums, by the way.
Hey, thanks.
That was awesome. I wish I could play an instrument. Shout out to the instrument players out there because you have
The
special
instrument
talent.
players out there.
Those,
Not musicians, instrument players.
Very good. Musicians. Well, yeah, but some of them are just like playing an instrument.
They're just like me and you, normal people. We
So-
put our pants on just like the rest of you, one leg at a time, only once my pants are on, I make gold records.
Oh.
It's not that show.
But wait, so would you consider someone who can play an instrument a musician?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you had to actually like record music and
No.
No? You're just a musician
Well, I
if
mean,
you
if
play
you're-
an instrument?
Well, you have to play it well.
You have to play it well. I mean, I could just sit at a
You don't get
keyboard
those
and
recorders in third grade and think you're a freaking musician.
I could just sit at a piano. I could just sit at a piano and dun dun dun.
Oh, like
dun,
Tom
dun.
Green. I want to do that, by the way. I want to get a keyboard with strings and some sausages. Be like, Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausages?
If anybody knows the name of that movie, give us an email.
Oh, shoot us the email.
At gtvspodcast
I
at
spoke over it.
gmail.com.
I spoke over the email. Go ahead and say it again, Anthony.
Are you going to stay quiet for 5 seconds while I give this email out?
I can't.
Okay, ready?
Go ahead.
gtvspodcast at gmail.com. That's the email. Shout out
To all the emailers out there.
emailers out there. Please send us an email. And
If you have an email address, congratulations, you're an emailer. Email us with your emails.
I think there's a way to hide your email if you want to keep your identity secret.
I don't know how the USPS office keeps up with all those mails that are emails.
Electronic emails.
Well, they got to deliver them somehow.
That's true. Very busy. They
I've
have
sent an email, and they still haven't received it yet.
the little electrons and proton delivery people.
Right.
All right, let's get into this episode. We're going to
Okay.
talk about
Digging deep.
coworkers. That's what she said.
Coworkers.
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 All right, we're going to
Coworkers.
Yes, we all have them.
We-
Well, I mean, if you're a millionaire or a business owner, then you have employees.
Correct.
But if you work somewhere, you
Mhm.
have coworkers.
Well, even technically, those employees are your coworkers because you're still working and they're working and you're
No,
working
you
together.
own the
you're
business.
co-working. Yeah, kapashish.
Now,
He's still working.
they're your employees.
I understand, but technically, you're co-working together.
All right, fine. I'll give you that one. All right, let's get into it. Vinny,
That's what
if
she
we
said.
remember this episode, you have coworkers, and you've had coworkers from the past, right? And sometimes you remember that one special coworker who, was an interesting character, we'll say.
Right.
And you have their phone number in your phone.
But you just don't
You
use
just
it.
don't use it, but you still have it there years
Still.
later,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
So you remember Vinny, he keeps looking at his phone, he wants to call this coworker. And finally he works up the courage and he calls this coworker. And the coworker just tells him all his health issues and what has happened to him in the past 10 years that they haven't seen each other. And Vinny gets deeply, deeply depressed. And this coworker had a very rare disease, and he lost parts of his body because of this disease. Yeah, it was bad.
That's
if you remember. It was almost as if the episode was getting dramatic. But then, of course, our excellent writers turned it into comedy gold because they had Vinny start calling all the other coworkers that he used to work with. And he, for hours, was on the phone telling all his coworkers what happened to the other coworker and depressing them. And then they started thinking about their current health conditions. And they were, oh man, I got to start exercising. I can't.
Did you hear what happened to Tom? He lost both arms and both legs.
He just
rolls around.
He can't go anywhere anymore. Poor Tom.
He steers himself with his mouth.
Yeah, I mean.
Or forehead or chin.
He brought some of his coworkers to tears. Remember, Vinny was talking to him.
Do you remember on set? Do you remember? I'm sorry to cut you off. Do you remember on set where we had to get him in the golf cart to get him over to the next scene, to the next shoot?
Yes, they had the actor.
And I helped load him in, and he fucking fell out.
Oh, man.
And he's just on, and we were on a hill, and the poor guy rolled down the hill. I felt awful.
Listen,
he just rolled.
If
I hear, hey, help!
If anyone out there is thinking maybe we should be canceled because of this,
little boy, you're going to hell.
We did not write the episode. They just asked us to act it out. When you're an actor, you have to do certain things that,
right.
Especially comedians.
And keep a straight face as you watch a grown man roll down a hill.
But listen, this guy was in high spirits, and he had a wonderful life. Nothing got him down, so.
He's George Bailey in real life. Merry Christmas, you old building and loan. That brings us... I just got the buzzer in my headset that tells us it's time for a commercial break.
Time for a commercial break.
So we apologize for that, but y'all need to start paying your subscriptions. Otherwise, you're going to keep getting these ads.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Beep. Ladies and gentlemen, are you an overeater? You like pasta and bread? Have another bagel. Diabetes here, and I just want to say, I'm coming for you. So don't exercise. Don't do those 10,000 steps a day. Sit down, relax, have some potato chips. It'll make my job all that easy. This commercial is sponsored by Diabetes, supporting the high sugar levels since the dawn of humans inventing processed sugars. This announcement is in no way affiliated with any drug company and has no political affiliation. Because disease doesn't care if you're white, black, brown, red, blue. We will get you. Boop. And we're back.
Hey, welcome back, everybody.
Hope you liked that commercial.
That was a good one. I hear diabetes is it's terrible.
Yes, it is definitely terrible.
And it comes for you, so just watch what you eat. Watch your sugars.
Not a joke, as we have turned it into.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mike, go.
Anthony, go.
Al's coworker story.
Al's coworker story. So this one dates back a few decades, but... I had a guy call. He called my boss to let him know that he was going to be late because it was a bad storm in the morning, and he was about a half hour. It was about 15 minutes late. Gets a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Says, "Hey, he lived in the Bronx and he was coming into Jersey."
This was Sports Authority, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, I shit myself. I had to pull over. In the car, because out of nowhere, like I got the shit sweats, and I had to pull over, and I had to take a shit outside in the pouring rain on the side of the road.
Wait, so the shit sweats
because you can't find a 7-Eleven in New Jersey.
You call
there's one at every half block.
Is it because I call them shit pains? Is shit pains and shit sweats the same?
No. So shit pains are just like sharp ass fucking pains in your stomach, and you're like,
yes,
I got to shit, but
well, sometimes it's the pain in your asshole.
But
too.
But that shit pain turns and it like curdles,
right.
And when it curdles, all of a sudden like the hair on the back of your neck stands up, and you know it's time.
Oh yes, you need to find a bathroom within minutes.
You have
seconds. Yeah, that's true.
and a little bit starts, and you kind of like
You
hold it in,
You
and you clench, and you pray to God. You feel like you swear to God something came out, but every time nothing came out. Somehow you clenched just in time. But then you have that one instance where you just didn't clench fast enough.
Oh, man. And that's what happened to this person.
And we never saw him again.
Wow.
And our
District manager?
our investigative team
Oh.
of the show really did their homework and tracked him down. And we actually got an interview of him, but he still embarrassed to this day. We had a really, really hard, strong, good laugh about it together, like, because I've had many instances of myself of where I've just decided to shit myself. I actually was wearing white pants one time in high school, and I was wearing white shorts or white pants, and I shit myself.
What were you doing with white shorts or pants on?
I don't remember, but anyway, it was in Florida. It was Florida? Could have been Florida. I don't know.
Well, I guess it's hot down there, so you need light colors.
I shit myself, and it looked like I sat in chocolate. I had a little brown spot. And one of my co-students,
classmates,
a girl I could have had a girl I had a crush on, nonetheless, was like, "Did you poop yourself yellow?" I was like, "Oh, I sat in chocolate," and I went to the bathroom and never came out. So we did an interview with this guy. Is still embarrassed, so he agreed to do an interview, but we had to alter his voice, like those documentaries on ABC News when they black out the face and change the voice.
This is really cool, folks. First ever interview on the Greatest TV Show podcast.
So we're gonna obviously we're gonna change his name to Benjamin.
Benjamin, sure. Benjamin's good.
Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin III shit himself on the way to work. Here he is.
Benny, I want to thank you, first of all, for being here for this exclusive Greatest TV Show podcast interview here. I know this is a very difficult day to speak about, but why don't you take us back to that day? Talk us through your morning. What time did you get up?
I got up the same time I always got up, about 6:30.
And what did you eat that morning?
I ate the leftover Taco Supreme from Taco Bell I had the night before.
Wow, that's a little rough for a breakfast.
Yeah, I was in a hurry. I'm supposed to wake up at 5:30, but I got up at 6:30, so I was already an hour behind.
So you would say that that's not a normal meal for you?
No. Usually it's Honey Nut Cheerios.
Okay. And the day in question, what time did you leave your apartment?
Well, I was supposed to be at work at 7, and I didn't leave my house, and it's about a 45-minute drive, and I didn't leave my house until 6:45.
Wow, so you're already starting the day off a little with
I
a little
only
bit
had
of
15 minutes. I woke up at 6:30. I was out the door by 6:45.
Okay, I'm sorry. I realize this is a touchy subject for you.
It was a rough. I'm still embarrassed to talk about it.
Yes, and I want to thank you again for doing this interview. Greatest TV Show podcast.
Did I haven't gotten paid yet, though.
Damn Vandy Productions is very thankful.
Well, write me a check, Damn Vandy Productions.
We'll speak about that soon.
Okay,
I'm just curious, at what point did the shit pains start?
About 15 minutes into the trip, I was on the George Washington Bridge.
Oh, I see. Oh, so you're coming in from New York to New Jersey.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Coming out of New York into New Jersey. I lived in New York and I worked in New Jersey.
Okay. I know this is very difficult to speak about, but I'm just curious. When did you feel the poop exiting your anus? At what point in the drive did you feel like there was no turning back?
Exit 73.
Exit 73. Okay. And
is the last exit in New Jersey or the first exit in New Jersey in Fort Lee?
And so what would that put you about 15 minutes away from work?
No, about a half hour.
Still about a half hour. Okay. I guess there was a lot of traffic that morning.
It was pouring rain, like teeming.
Teeming, not cats and dogs?
Cats and dogs shitting themselves, sure.
Okay, I see the association there.
Mm.
And what did you actually tell work?
So I called my boss and I said, I'm running late, the storm is really bad, and I had to take a shit, and there were no bathroom. I had no time, so I just pulled my car over to the side of the road on the bridge and pulled my pants down in the pouring rain and leaned my ass over the side of the bridge and shit in the Hudson River. Needless to say, it was a very embarrassing moment for me. The cars kept honking their horns. Children were screaming. I almost took out a biker.
I want to say that it's probably a good thing that this happened 20 plus years ago, because today with the cell phones and such,
Terrifying.
I'm sure this video and would have leaked all over the internet, and you may have gone viral with that little episode that you had. I'm
Thank
sorry.
goodness that
I don't
we
mean
didn't
to
have
laugh.
them. We only had Nokias.
Oh, wow. Okay, Benny, I want to thank you very much for this exclusive episode for the GTVS Greatest TV Show podcast. We really appreciate it. A very special thank you from Dan Vandy Production Company as well.
Yeah, so I got back in my car and went home, and I didn't call back again. He kept trying to call me. I had like 20 missed calls, and I finally got back to him and said, I'm almost there. I'm 15 minutes away. I was already home.
Okay, can we cut? We're good here? Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that exclusive interview
with Benjamin Franklin III,
otherwise known as Benny, the pants shitter.
the bridge shitter.
Hey, listen, we've all experienced some bad stuff when you have to go to the bathroom, and we can turn it funny, we can keep it serious, but it's mostly funny.
Why so serious?
Okay, so now we move on to Vinny and his job at the video store. And do you remember they actually did this across a couple episodes, because we had a reoccurring character, and she worked with Vinny, and she would sleep with all the customers.
Well, let's
basically
let's recap on the video store that you had a porn.
Yes,
we all remember that he had a porn section.
Yes,
all right, so
we
let's
did, right,
now we know
exactly.
that.
Right.
Go ahead
Yes.
go on with the chlorophyll.
So we had this actress come on and play this part, and customers would come into the store and request a particular movie. And what was that movie again? Do you remember?
Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct. That's right. And so they had a whole.
And we all remember what the famous part of Basic Instinct was.
Well, I mean, that movie's pretty.
Her legs.
And I guess that was the signal for this coworker of Vinny's to start up her act. And so the actress did a very good job. She would introduce herself to the customers. I think, what was her name? Tiffany on the show.
Candy.
Right? Candy,
and I want to eat some candy.
And so she
I want
would
to eat
say,
something sweet,
she would
salty.
Tell the customer, and by the way, didn't matter male or female. She would tell the customer, "Oh my God, I just love this movie so much. I could watch it 1,000. As a matter of fact, I've seen it 1,000 times. Are you watching it with anyone?"
You know, I always watch this movie in the rain, if you catch my drift. It makes a lot of things wet. If you catch my drift.
And the customer already knew
like me.
The movie
I'm wet right now, if you catch my drift.
Was her favorite movie. And yes, that's what happened. And so she would leave Vinny in the middle of her shift and go off with the customer.
And behind the curtain.
And return. No. She would drive.
They would actually
store,
leave the
no.
premises.
Vinny didn't allow any of that nonsense in the store.
No nonsense. Stop with the nonsense.
And she would return a couple hours later. Finish up her shift.
I'm surprised it wasn't 5 minutes later.
Well, who knows what else she was doing out there, you know?
Well, yeah.
We leave that to the imagination of the viewers.
Snorting crack for money, for loose change. All right, Al's turn. We remember many cut scenes in the Sports Authority store, and there was one in particular that always just made me laugh. Was this they always had a regular. This one customer would always come in, and he would go right to the fitness section and just start putting weights. He actually would set up a bench, put the bar on the thing, and actually put weights on the bar and start doing sets.
His workout, basically.
His work,
right?
he'd basically, yes, his whole work. He never finished an entire workout. Like, we would kick him out. Like, as soon as he started setting up, I was like, you know what? I'm going to let him set this up. I'm going to let him get everything in. And as soon as he goes in for the first reps,
yeah,
I'm going to make him take everything off.
That was the part of the show is they had Al just observe this guy.
Folded arms, just standing in the corner.
And what was his excuse? He said he didn't have time to hit the gym, so on his way to work, he would stop by the Sports Authority that was on the way to his job, and he would come in and just try to get
never
in a
bought
workout.
anything.
No, never. Got sweat all over the machines. And what's weird is if he's on his way to work, working out, sweating like a monster.
Well, it was on the way home from work.
Oh, home. That's right.
Yeah,
it was on the way home
from work.
That's right.
He would actually come into the store,
disgusting.
Take off his fucking tie and his button down, set it on the. He would hang it he would hang it on the shelf.
Yeah, with a hanger and keep it nice and neat.
And then he would start working out. Like,
remember
dude,
the one
doing?
time they had on the show and it was funny because to shoot in Sports Authority, you have to do the whole production crew has to come in. So you're talking about like 100 people setting up all the cameras, setting up the extras and everything like that. And so the one time he hit the treadmill, what was he like trying to run as fast as he can? He's like
the noise
like
this guy was making. He was just he sounded like the noise he was making when he was running on the treadmill sounded like Mother Fratelli from the Goonies when she's running.
Oh yeah.
or like the guy from Forrest Gump when he goes, "Yo mama sure do care about yo schooling," and then Forrest looks at him and goes, "That
is too funny, man.
And the guy's wearing a wife beater, he's sweating.
Those were the best episodes because the guy would actually work out before they recorded him so he could have a lot of sweat on him. Right. And when they yelled action, he was just like dripping sweat like all over the place. And he was getting it all over the equipment.
And then Al would just randomly start yelling, "We've got to get out of here! Come on, get out of here! You cannot work out! You're not Arnold!"
Oh, man, that's too funny. Let's go back now to Vinny's job at the video store. Let me tell you, all the best stories come from this job because we had the best people come in there, okay? And so we had the one guy who would come in to the video store. He would go into the naughty room section, and he would come out. This is, of course, in the Jersey City location because we used to shoot a lot in the Jersey City area. He would go into the porn section.
Oh, sorry, not a porn store. You have a whole store.
Well, I mean, I guess if you have that section, it is a porn store.
They really do exist.
No toys in the porn store, though.
The M&M commercial.
In the
they do exist.
And then he would exit the porn section, walk over to the ice cream freezer, slide the door open. If you remember the episode, it was the most disgusting thing ever. He would
still gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Rub his hands on the ice, okay, and then rub his eyes as if he was cleansing his soul of all the pornographic videos that he just saw the pictures of the covers, and then he walked out the video store.
And then 2 minutes later, a poor kid, 9-year-old kid, comes in with his mom and was like, I want that ice cream cookie," and opens the drawer and picks up the same piece of ice cream that this guy just touched with his dirty frickin' hands.
Yeah, it was
cum-filled
pretty
fucking stained hands.
Well, we never saw.
You can't really say that, but you know he
like,
penis touched hand on ice cream.
Penis touched.
Now it's on his eyes. He just gave himself pink eye.
Maybe pink eye.
And last but not least, the story of the day for coworkers is mine. Or Al's, I should say. And Al, again, Sports Authority.
Good times.
And good times, great oldies. Cool. So we're at the Sports Authority, and whenever it was slow, the guy who ran the golf department would just start setting up his mat and just start literally chipping golf balls across the store into the basketball hoop area. And then one time he actually made it into the hoop. A couple times he made it into the hoop. Literally, I'm talking hundreds of feet away.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, and he didn't hit the ceiling. It was impressive. I was actually kind of impressed. But one time he actually broke the glass.
He had a bank shot, right?
He had a bank shot and broke right through the glass of the backboard.
And also we had the one episode.
I started calling him Shaquille O'Neal after that,
where he hit someone. But it's funny because you have to like.
No, he actually do you remember who he hit?
No, I don't.
He hit the guy who was working out.
That's great. And that's right. Then he had the white T-shirt on. He got all mad and he wanted
he was
to
aiming
fight
at him. He told me later on. He goes, "I hate that prick." He was aiming at him.
Oh, that was great. That was good stuff. Thank you again for listening to another Greatest TV Show podcast brought to you by the Damn Vandy Production Company.